Happy Monday. Well, here we are. So I'm really happy. We've got a special guest joining us today, Jon Herington from New York, who's popping in here. And I'm going to be playing as a guest on his arranging workshop. He does a chord melody arranging workshop. So I'll be sitting in on that on the 9th, and should be sharing some ideas there. But let's start. I'll put him split screen here, and we'll just say a couple of hellos.
Hello, hello, hello. So nice
Hey,
to be
John.
here, Mira.
Yeah. Well, this is the next best thing to actually,
Yeah,
um, hanging out, like coming to New York and hanging out at your place and saying
it's
like
true.
what you do. And I know you've played with Steely Dan, which I think was pretty cool.
It is pretty
Um,
cool. It's been 20 years now.
ah,
Hard to believe, but it's
wow.
a long run.
Yeah. So you did a lot of those cool Steely Dan licks.
Well, I have to find a way to, sort of like bridge that gap between sort of, you know, doing paying enough homage to the original guitar stuff on the records, which is classic, of course, for so many listeners. I think a lot of listeners know those guitar solos better than they know the lyrics of some of those tunes. Um, so it's kind of critical to sort of honor the originals, the records. I think, but it's also because of the sort of aesthetic of the band and of Donald particularly, it's also important to find a way to be there in the present, and to have it be sort of vital music making and not like a tribute band or something like that. It's not we're not there
Yeah.
to reproduce the records really. We're there to play those songs and play them well. And Donald always asks for top-notch musicianship. He wants things in tune, in time, etc. But he also wants it to be, a, a now experience, not a historical
Well,
record.
that's a great way to put it. I never thought of, a real band acting like a tribute band. So you don't want to
Well, I
be a
mean, some
tribute
of
to
them,
yourself.
a
Yeah.
surprising number of them end up like that because they had hits back in the day and they haven't
Yeah.
been really an active band, but they realize they can keep working, making money, and enjoying the whole, uh, all that fame. There are a lot of bands that end up sounding like the best tribute band because they're the original band, but they don't really feel as vital as they did when they were in their heyday. And that's something that I think it's an easy trap, I think, for a band that had its hits, you know, uh, 50 years ago. But I'm to Donald's credit, he's avoided it, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, that's
But he
great.
has a real different sort of approach to it now. He's a real fan of his later work, the later records, and he's such a he's a serious jazz connoisseur, and he knows so much about it, and he's kind of tried to sort of steer the thing a little more in a jazzier direction. The horn players get a lot of solos, and those guys are going for it every night. It's nothing scripted for them. So um, for me, it's a combination of as much of that as I can get away with that feels like it doesn't dishonor the music itself. So,
Yeah.
and the guitar roll is pretty historical. Those. I mean, you can't start reeling in years without going. You have to do that. I
Yeah.
think. I mean, you can try, but you do that at your own peril. I think. So.
Well, maybe I'll let you play a tune while I go through and see say some of the hellos. I see we've got Robert and Maria and Mark, Tom, Rob, all chiming in, and Michael. So I'll check out some of the comments maybe while you play
Okay.
something.
Good.
But
Yeah.
um,
Well.
you've done so much with bands. Have you done a lot you don't have your band around you right now, right? So have you
No,
done
this
a
has
lot?
been this has been
Yeah.
well, one of the results of all this time to myself in the lockdown era here has been a kind of refocusing on some solo guitar playing. I don't. I used to perform when I was younger and first learned how to sort of play chord melody style jazz guitar, and I was a serious student of jazz. I never really became a jazz player. I don't really even think of myself as a jazz player, but I studied it in earnest for a good 10 years and would do gigs playing jazz and occasionally even solo gigs. I was either stupid enough or brave enough to do it when I was young. And, I would actually try to play tunes and like solo on tunes in time with, no rhythm section and just sort of do the best I could. But the thing that I fell in love with when I first started studying guitar many, many years ago with a fabulous guitar player named Harry Leahy, who's no longer with us, but was in Plainfield, New Jersey. And he just knew the guitar inside out, and he had been a student of Johnny Smith, and so he had absorbed that and was just the most brilliant, sort of chord stylist on the guitar that I'd ever encountered. And so this was a new world to me, and I fell in love with the style and studied it for a long time with Harry, writing an arrangement of a song every week. And I always had a dream of being able to put a book out of these arrangements, and it took about 30 or 40 years, but finally I did get around to it. And there was enough of a response to it that I did another one. And in this lockdown phase, I started about 6 months ago, I guess. I started this monthly workshop where we, basically celebrate the style of chord melody style jazz guitar playing, basically. And I encourage people to try to, come up with arrangements of their own for about 3 tunes a month that I agree to arrange as well. So as a result of these 6 months now, I've got at least 15 tunes that I think are book worthy. So I'm going to put another book out.
Okay.
I have these two. I'll do a shameless plug here just for a minute. These two,
cool.
I don't know if you can see them, but yeah, there's just arrangements for guitar and then more arrangements for guitar. So the next one will be called probably something like Still More arrangements for guitar.
Well, play us one arrangement.
But
anyway.
I'll play one of these. I think I'll play the bluesy standard Angel Eyes, which is in, I think, book 1 maybe.
All right.
If I can remember it. These are a little dim. But.
Great. We just got a note from Facebook. They're having some trouble streaming on some of the Facebook streams, and if you have any trouble with the streaming, switch over to YouTube. This is also at the same time on YouTube, my YouTube channel. It's just Muriel Anderson on YouTube. So go ahead and check that out if you're having any streaming issues. Okay. All right.
You can hear this? Okay, cool. I'll give it a shot.
Oh, now that's jazz, right?
That's a classic.
Yeah. It's really interesting that we come from such completely different spaces musically,
We
and
do.
yeah, it would be fun to see how they intertwine. It just so happens that I just posted on my YouTube channel a jam of Tommy Emmanuel and I playing Memphis blues. And
Wow.
so my introduction to the blues is through country blues, through Doc Watson and that right. And so, and then later discovered Thelonious Monk, kind of that way. But it's a whole different spirit. But
It's
what we can do, I can just I didn't plan to do this, but I'll just jam on a little bit of Memphis blues. And if you mute yourself, you can go ahead and jam with me. And if we're unmuted, then that the lag will mean that we'll be playing the
uh,
notes at different times,
right, right. No,
which is an interesting
I know
thing.
we can't do it when
We
if we
can't
were
do
to
it
hear
live,
both.
but if
No.
you're welcome to
So
play
if
along with me for fun, for if you go ahead and mute yourself and then
so,
unmute. So
but I can play. So if I play but unmuted, wait, muted.
mute yourself, yeah. So
Okay,
nobody will hear you except for you.
okay,
Yeah,
all
and I
right.
think I might do that with you too. Except that some of those jazz things are so fancy.
Well, well, let me try this. I'm so
Okay,
curious. I'm not sure I get it, but we'll try. Okay.
okay.
So I'll mute and I'll
Yeah.
listen.
All right, I'll be in the key of C. Anyone who wants to play along with me out there, the key of C, and we'll just see what happens. Okay, this is Memphis Blues.
That's kind of a crazy tune. Kind of goes all over the place.
Yeah,
Thought it was going to be
it's
a
fun, isn't it? It's
blues,
a little.
and it is,
It's
but
the change to one of the chords is in a little unexpected place,
it
and that's
takes
what
a
makes
little
it fun.
turn there when it goes to the
Yeah,
E7 there. Yeah,
yeah. So
pretty
fun
cool.
stuff. Uh, and actually, we did hear from. We've got some folks from Brazil coming in saying hello, and one gentleman who
Cool.
says he's got tickets to go see Steely Dan coming up.
All right.
So fun, fun.
Yeah, it's a long wait for that show. All of our shows from 2020 were postponed by a year. So
Oh,
some of them almost to the day. They're the same venues, but just a year later. So
yeah,
that's the story of 2020 in a nutshell for this band.
yeah.
Crazy. But I'm hoping it happens. I mean, that vaccination thing has to pick up some speed, but
Oh yeah,
maybe it
yeah.
will.
So I'm
I hope it does
I'm
in
ready
time
to.
because we play in we're booked to play in June actually, so we'll see if it happens.
Yeah, yeah. Well, either that or we have to work out the lag thing so we can play together and
Absolutely.
both
You
hear
know,
each other. Yeah, that would
I'm
be
sure
fun.
everybody. You've probably done the same research too. I've looked at lots of different
Hmm.
sort of sites that and technologies that claim to be able to do it, and I think it probably can be. It seems like there are some people who can do it, but it requires like military grade internet and like just sort of serious like stuff that normal people don't really
Yeah,
have access to. So maybe someday.
yeah. Sam had mentioned that tune does sound like St. James Infirmary. Yeah,
It
that's a
does, yeah.
very similar kind of a
Similar
country
bag,
blues
right?
feel on
Yeah,
that one as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, the blues, I mean, though we come from quite different, certainly different solo backgrounds, as far as
yeah,
trying to like, I mean, I only do the solo guitar thing. I never would have done it had I not just been sort of unbelievably lucky to stumble on Harry as my first teacher, and he was a master of this.
yeah,
But it's quite different from what I normally uh, play when I'm earning my living, But it has been a labor of love to learn how to do this and to arrange for it. It's been really fun, and it's sort of a revived love for me now. But
yeah,
I think I mean, having learned enough about the guitar to sort of be able to do that with a little facility after all this much time, it's impossible not to sort of appreciate the same depth and degree to which you have to know your guitar to be able to do what you do. And it connects to the classical guitar world too, which I understand you did some study. I was fascinated to hear that you had at least at some time studied with Christopher Parkening. Or
yes.
did you do a
He
master
was a
class
big
where you were actually a
influence.
student?
Yeah, I
Oh my
certainly
God,
didn't.
he's just unbelievable. He was unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah. Just he
I
was
never
so
understood how
emotional.
anybody could do that like so consistently and so perfectly. It's just amazing playing.
Yeah, and
Ridiculous.
with so much emotion, and that's what really drew me to that. And I started out with folk and bluegrass, and Doc Watson was my hero, and so I came to the classical world, pretty late. I'd been playing for a long time, but it was his playing that really inspired me to kind of go after that the kind of tone and feeling, and kind of capture some uh, the nuances of
Oh,
the
it's just
music
so
as
beautiful.
I do
It's
that.
so musical and it's so in tune. It's astounding to me on a
Yeah,
nylon string that anybody could play so in tune like that.
yeah.
It's just
Well,
ridiculous.
yeah, he does a little bit of the bending, like I mean, like
No,
I
you
did at
have
the
to.
end there a little bit,
You have to. No, I
but
mean, no, you have to be listening as if there were no frets, I think.
yeah,
I mean, I
that's
do it
right.
too. I mean, it's it's just it's not a perfect instrument that way, and we want to hear intervals closer to pure sometimes. So
Yeah,
a little extra pressure on a string will sometimes
yeah.
just it starts to sing.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to it, and it's funny. I didn't think I'd ever be a solo player because I always thought that my best skills were to make other people sound better, and I played steel
Actually,
string
I
guitar,
feel like that
so
too.
yeah, and so I, I never thought I'd end up as a solo player. So you just never know what.
Well, you do it beautifully, and
Oh, thank
you
you.
seem very comfortable in that world. I don't feel comfortable. I hope I sound comfortable, but I don't feel comfortable in that world. It feels like the stakes are way too high.
Well, can I
There's
put you in a
safety in numbers.
can I put you in a position of being uncomfortable and ask you to
Oh,
play another
sure, yeah,
tune?
absolutely, yeah,
Well,
yeah. I
this
think
these Monday things are not really a performance. We're just kind of hanging
well,
out, having some fun, sharing some music. So
I appreciate that,
there you go.
and I'm happy to be here, and I'm even though I have some issues just with my fussiness and my comfort level playing solo, especially because everything just feels so exposed. I'm thrilled to do it because it's I mean I know it's never going to be perfect, but it just feels like to do it again is another like another sort of muscle building step. Like it's bound to get better over time. And
Great.
there's no substitute for gigging and playing it. So
Okay.
yeah, I
Good
think
enough.
I'll play uh, a tune, another classic jazz standard that I think everybody will remember. My Funny Valentine. You remember that? Let's see. Something like that. Something like that.
All right. Yeah. Well, I was playing along with you on that, so I was having fun this time. So,
Oh, good.
yeah, there's one that I should probably do in your class on Saturday. So as we mentioned, I'm going to be sitting in
We have
on
a
John's
guest.
chord melody class.
We have a guest.
Greetings to the cat. I had one like that one time. Yeah, and so the thing that was really cool about this, I mean, I haven't played it for a little while, so we'll see how we do. But this is Monday anyway, uh, and the thing that really captured me was the piano player on the Karen Carpenter recording, and she. Uh, all right, whoever the piano player was playing this kind of like chunk chunk kind of feel, so it's sort of
Right.
slightly detached. So I tried to capture that on the guitar
Oh, cool.
while getting Karen's kind of free melody over the top. So that was the challenge. That's what was fun. Yeah. So it's something like this.
beautiful. That's
Oh,
beautiful.
thank you. So
Gorgeous.
if you
Wow. All those
I
artificial harmonics too. That whoa.
yeah, I could do a lot of stuff with harmonics. I did a
That's
whole
a lot of work.
course on harmonics. But yeah, the link for that is on my links page, which should be there for you, murielanderson.com/now. And there's John's workshop has limited enrollment, so there's a place where you can go and just email to get an invite for that. And so if you're looking to do that. So Leo is saying hi from Germany. So hello, Leo. Boy, it's great to see you chiming in here. And Jody also, and Ron. Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Well, we are just playing a few tunes today, and pretty soon we're going to get another chapter of the Sailing and Music channel up. That's also linked for you on that same links page, the now page on my site, and some of John's information is there also. So any last greetings from the people, and if not, we'll have maybe John finish us off with a song. So Tom just said he just signed up for Saturday. You've got one student there. All right, so he didn't waste any time. All right. It's
fun. It's a nice group, and they're going to love you because
good.
Just got it all going on with the solo guitar. It's beautiful.
Okay. All right, and great. Yes, that's what we can talk about. A couple of people were mentioning that that the playing is filled with joy. Yeah, and there's things that you could do to infuse that into your playing, and we can talk about that at the workshop too. That things here. Yeah.
I'm trying to. I actually one of the things we're going to talk about at the workshop is has been an issue for me a long time. It's sort of degree of difficulty, and that points right to that very thing. I mean, for me, the most joyful arrangement I could play or arrange, well, they're different things, actually. That's what I mean. If I arrange with abandon, and come up with what I really want to hear, but ignore how difficult it is to play, sometimes I end up having a lot of joy as an arranger, but not a whole lot as a player because it's too difficult. So sometimes I have to sort of purposely address that when I'm arranging and make sure that I don't, overreach my own technical limits, because something that's a little easier to get my hands on, for instance, is a lot more fun to play, as long as it's not. I mean, it's a balance. You don't want it to be so simple that it's not a challenge. I mean, I like the challenge of it, but mostly I like it to feel like it's the most musical thing I can do. But sometimes I bite off more than I can chew that way, and so it's something I've always had to sort of pay attention to, and actually, as I get older, I pay attention to it more because I got arm issues after all these years, and so I want it to be a little easier. Like you saw some of those stretches on, like some of that crazy stuff. That stuff I used to do routinely, and I think it kind of messes me up, So I'm trying to sort of do a little less of that and find a way to play that's a little more comfortable, because then I can find I do have more fun playing it. So
yeah, well, that's one thing that I've done with my students. Some of you I know out there are students on my True Fire channel, and we try to find things that everyone has some issue with their hands or their they're playing in some way, and we work around it. And we work with it, and we work around it, and we can make music,
Right.
So there's a lot of different ways to make music and to make great music. Django did it with 2 fingers on his left hand, right?
Yeah.
So
right. No, that's the right approach, and that's what I always tell people. If you can't reach a voicing that's in one of these difficult arrangements in the book, rethink it. Like leave a note out. Find the best way to do it that you can manage and do comfortably and confidently, and again make music with it, because
All
it
right.
can be done.
Well, do you have one more in you?
Yeah, I got one more.
Okay.
This is a tune that actually was a direct result of one of these workshops several months, I guess maybe 3 months ago or so. It was one of the three tunes on the list that I asked participants to prepare, and I agreed to prepare. And so this was a tune that was recommended by a guy named Andy Jones, who is a London regular. I'm sure you'll see him on the 9th. He's a really good guitar player and a teacher over there, and he suggested this song, and I'd never heard of it. It's called "And So It Goes," and it's a Billy Joel song. I know a lot of Billy Joel, but I don't know everything he wrote, and I'd never heard this tune. It's just a gem. It's a little hymn musically. The lyrics aren't really like a hymn, but it's a great song, and it's just full of like gorgeous sonorities and chord voicings. So I tried to get it on the guitar. After I did, I realized Tommy Emmanuel. I know someone you've worked with. He had done an arrangement of it, which is quite beautiful too. So it's a it's a sweet tune. It sounds kind of like a hymn to me, and it goes like this. Almost something like that.
Oh,
But
that's pretty
it's a
cool.
sweet one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
sweet one.